The Westall wedding got ruined on Supergirl, so it's time to find out just why Nazis from an alternate Earth would do such a thing. Besides, you know, that the Nazis. If you don't all the Arrowverse shows, there's a chance you might have been confused by what went on during Part 1 of Crisis on earthx. Still, all you really need to know is that Barry Allen and Iris West's wedding was crashed by villains from a Nazi-controlled alternate Earth. There was a fight, the church got smashed, evil Supergirl got punched in the stomach, the bad guys retreated, but an alternate Prometheus was captured by our heroes, many of whom were wedding guests. Now you're all caught up. For more, you can read our Supergirl recap. But there's another chapter of this crossover to write. Now, Arrow Season 6, Episode 8 Recap, Crisis on earthx Part 2. The first big revelation of Part 2 is a big one. The Nazi version of Prometheus they captured at the wedding is Tommy Merlin, a fact that shocks everyone, but especially Oliver Queen. We need to catch up the viewers via a big talk at STAR Labs, where Harry Wells reveals the existence of earthx, a world where the Nazis won World War II. Still not sure why it couldn't be one of the existing 52 Earths, but hey. Oliver finds the Prometheus Tommy to be surprisingly sympathetic, motivated mostly by fear of what will happen to his family. Except whoops, he was just playing Ollie for a chump. Their talk ends abruptly when Nazi Tommy takes a poison pill. That bums out Dark Arrow, who gets into a bit of a pissing contest with Dark Flash before evil Kara calms them both down. She tells Oliver to trust in the plan and then they kiss. So, yeah. Felicity Smoke catches up Curtis Holt on current events, but even with an impending extra-dimensional Nazi invasion, there's still time for a big talk between Felicity and Oliver. She loves him but doesn't want to marry him, is the gist. Another awkward discussion is taking place at STAR Labs, where Jax has to actually spell out that he'll miss Stein, not just being Firestorm. And yet another between Alex Danvers and Sarah Lance. That's a new record for the Arrowverse, with 3 of those in quick succession. There's about to be one more between Felicity and Iris, but the main plot snaps back to the forefront as the Nazis show their hand, and there's a funny bit where Green Arrow reminds Flash and Supergirl that he's not as fast as they are. The main 3 heroes get a shock when the villains unmask and reveal that they're them, with the exception of Wells being Barry's evil counterpart. More from television. 11/28 Watch Crisis on earthx Part 3 The Flash Season 4, Episode 81128 Watch The Voice Live Top 11 Eliminations. 11/28 Joanna going interview SVU, Good Behavior and Life After Kingdom. 11/27 Bill Goldberg to spear the Flash. 11/27 Supergirl Season 3, Episode 8 Recap Crisis on earthx Part 1. Also, Dark Flash is the Reverse Flash, as in the one from Earth 1. Time travel and all. The inevitable showdown has more big reveals. Nazi Kara and Oliver are married. Earth 1 Oliver has a kryptonite arrow in case an evil Supergirl ever shows up. But the bad guys cause a building-threatening distraction and escape with what they came for, something that they can use to build a neutron bomb. Oliver is 10 times the man that Hitler ever was, is a real line of dialogue between the villains. The tension between them seems to be Thorne suspecting Nazi Oliver will choose his wife over the Reich. Sounds right. While Barry broods about how he'll never be rid of Thorne, Oliver arrives to give him and Iris a pep talk. In turn, they reassure him about Felicity. And then it's time for a heroic suiting up montage, but only for Flash, Green Arrow, Supergirl, Firestorm, White Canary and Alex. They end up walking into a trap. But Dark Arrow isn't there, instead walking ominously toward STAR Labs, as Heatwave and Caitlin Snow prepare for Oliver. Our Ollie takes a mean shot from the evil Supergirl and ends up potentially concussed and spitting out blood. Dark Arrow easily takes out Heatwave and Killer Frost, but he soon ends up squaring off against the rest of our world's Team Arrow. And the villains have an ace up their sleeves in the form of Metallo from Earth 1, earthx. Not sure who helps the bad guys all the rest of our heroes. We are about halfway through this crossover, so it's about the time everything goes to crap. All of our heroes are captured and placed in some weird collars, but they see some signs of pain and weakness in Earthx. Turns out she's dying from exposure to too much solar radiation, and we finally learn the plan is to weaken Good Kara with red sun radiation and use her as an unwilling heart transplant donor. Neat, but weird and gross too. 2N Part 2. We play Who's in the Worst Predicament. Iris and Felicity see Nazi soldiers dumping the unconscious Team Arrow heroes into the pipeline at STAR Labs. Meanwhile, the heroes who walked into the Metallo ambush come to and discover they're not in Kansas anymore, or even on Earth 1. Final thoughts through 2 parts. Crisis on earthx is definitely the best Arrowverse crossover to date. Yes, there are obvious issues getting everyone's screen time. Witness Team Arrow being unceremoniously defeated in one scene by Dark Arrow, but the writers are juggling a bunch of subplots deftly while still keeping the action frequent. Superheroes on TV have rarely looked this good. As well, the main plot has taken just enough turns, especially when it comes to the villain's motivations, that not every story beat was predictable. Along with a pure rush of seeing all the DC TV heroes together, that's got us psyched to see the final 2 chapters on Tuesday night.